Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel UKMtG, and it's Jordan here, and today I'm bringing you a bit of a special kind of deck. I've had requests recently for what would I do with some of the starter decks from some new people who subbed to the channel, and it actually got me thinking that it seems though everyone's quite enjoying my take on the Planeswalker decks. I thought, well, why don't I do a little mini series where I look at the entirety of the starter decks, and then we'll discuss upgrades, either possibly one upgrade or maybe two if there are two different sort of sub-themes within the natural deck itself. So the first one we're going to tackle is the Jungle Seekers deck, which, as we all know, I love tribal. This is tribal merfolk, the wrong kind of tribe, but you know, we'll let them off with that just for once, you know, until Wizards of the Coast give us a decent starting goblin deck, but you know, we'll get there eventually. So basically, what does this want to do? This wants to essentially go wide and play tempo with merfolk. You know, you have many ways of flooding the board early with plenty of low-cost creatures, including some lords. And then you have the ability to get extra card draw, or you tap all their creatures in various ways. Bounce back effects, water tap weavers, sleep for big swings. As you see, you generally get the idea. Basically, it wants to do things. It has one Deep-Root Elite and one Champion, so you're either getting benefit off the spells or benefit off the creatures entering the battlefield. So, essentially, with this deck, it's a great starter deck. It's great early game. It can be great late game, depending on what you're drawing to. And there's plenty of sort of ways to play it, and sort of there's actually two different ways I've built the deck. So, firstly, we're going to go to our first deck. Welcome to the second deck. The second deck I'm calling a +1 counter deck. Essentially, this is actually generally using Deep-Root Elite to its maximum. Generally, all these merfolk will enter with counters on them or get buffed up in various ways, and we want to generally cause as much damage as we can by making our creatures as big as they can. So, of course, we're keeping Chimera Speaker in. It's a great one-drop, great early game. River Snake, of course, can get in for extra damage where we need it to. Silver Guild Adept is just going to give us that little bit of card draw is what we need. Deep-Root Elite is, of course, one of the main engines of the deck. It was tempting to put 4 in, but I found that from testing, having more than 2, it was generally slowing the deck down, because you're generally wanting to play 1 on turn 2 and get advantage from there. You don't want to generally have multiple on the board a lot of the time, but we do have some copy effects in here, so keep your eye open for them. So then we have Merfolk Branchwalker. Again, it's going to explore. If it gets a land, it's a 2-1. If it gets anything else, it's going to be a 3-2. Very good on turn 2. Combine Guildmage is a little bit of spice, basically. It's a 2-2 early game, so it's not too bad. What you want this for is generally the first trigger, which is 1 and a green, tap it, and each creature that enters the battlefield with an additional 1-1 counter on it. So you can do a lot of fun things with it with a mana sink late game. Or you can generally do some combat shenanigans and move 1-1 counters around and stuff like that. Merfolk Mistbinder, obviously we want a full set of lords in here because we want to generally make our things nice and big. Jadelight Ranger, of course, is just giving us extra explore trigger, so we either get an extra card draw with lands to hand, or we're going to see what's on top and get rid of it if we don't want it and various things like that. We're stuck in an Extrant Chimera, because he's generally insane. He's amazing. He's very fun to play. Quasi-Duplicate is going to get us either extra lords or extra Deep-Root Elites or extra card draw with Silver Guild Adept and various other things of that nature. Herald of the Seeker Streams is a little bit of tech. Basically, turn 4, if you've got a load of creatures with 1-1 counters on them, they can't be blocked. You're generally getting for generally quite a large chunk of damage at that point. Spark Double is obviously entering and gaining a 1-1 count because it's going to enter as a creature, but the benefit is that it can copy Chimera and become a 3-5 automatically, and it's not legendary. Or we just get another Merfolk Mistbinder, and again it's just pump up after pump up. And Tempest Caller is the last card of the deck. Obviously enters the battlefield, tap all our opponent's creatures down, and then we do a big swing. Of course you want to have Breeding Pool and Hinterland Harbours. They're just backbones of the deck. They are really sweet, they're great to play. Obviously we have 8 Islands, 7 Forest and 1 Arch of Araska just for a little bit of card draw. It is tempting to use some of the other utility lands, but sort of see what play style you want to go with. Of course, though, this has a sideboard, so for those of you who do want to play best of 3, we have, we have Kasmina's Transmutation. Great card, deals with gods is the main reason why I put this in. A lot of gods are flying around and it just helps deal with them. Negate, obviously, helps counter Planeswalker decks, helps counter board wipes. Plummet deals with pesky flyers such as Nicol Bolas, also such as the Hydra, Krasis Hydra, yeah. It generally deals with flying Hydras and various other things of that nature. Return to Nature is a great sideboard utility card in green. The fact that you can either get rid of an artifact, get rid of an enchantment, or exile a card from the graveyard. Fantastic, love it to pieces. Titanic Brawl is just giving us a bit of punching power. Allows us to have some removals and various things of that nature, which is quite good. River's Rebuke, obviously late game, bounce our opponent's entire board, we swing through for lethal. And the final card we have is Entrancing Melody. There we go. Is Entrancing Melody. Obviously this allows us to gain control of certain creatures. It was tempting to put some other blue spells that are steal effects in, but I just found that this works better early game, and obviously you don't want to bring it in against a very low creature heavy deck, but it can be crucial in getting some key pieces away from your opponent. So that is it for our first take on the deck. The deck list will be in the description box down below, so please make sure you follow it there. And now we're going to move on to our other take of the deck. Now, this version of the deck is a little bit different. This one, we have decided to exploit the token theme and the go wide strategy of the deck. So, you'll see a few sort of regular faces in this one. Of course, we have Chimera Speaker again. River Snake, of course, is great for damage. Silvergill. Merfolk Trista, a bit different. Reason why we want it in, because we want to keep creatures like tapped down, or we can be a bit aggressive, or we can negate triggers and stuff like that, and sort of various things of that nature. It also does help deal with gods to a degree, but I prefer the transmutation and various things like that. Deep-Rooted Elite, of course, is because we are going to have a go-wide strategy with Merfolk. We are allowed to place counters wherever we want. Guildmage, again, we're going to use that top trigger to get extra. All our Merfolk are going to enter with extra counters on it. Mistbinder, again, has to be a 4-off in here. Jungle Ball Pioneer, of course, we want this in here because we want to go wide. It comes in with a hexproof token, which can make a difference. Again, we have Chimera, a 2-off, but this time we have 4 Deep-Root Waters. Now, it's kind of clunky at times. Sometimes you draw into all of them and you're like, ugh, you know, you want a bit of action. Sometimes just one of them can get the job done. It can be really impressive how it works. Tempest Caller, of course, is our general finisher of the deck. And finally, we have 4-off of Rejuvenate and Replicate. So Rejuvenate is going to counter a target activated ability or a triggered ability, so you don't copy it. It's essentially a stifle. So, you know, this could stop a Field of Ruin, it can stop a god, it can stop lots of various things of that nature. But we've also have it in here to replicate as well. It can get us extra Deep-Rooted Elites, it can get us extra Lords, it can get us extra Tempest Caller. I did win a game via that way and actually just copied the Tempest Caller and therefore tapped his opponent down and swung through for lethal. Again, the mana base is pretty much exactly the same, no problem, no point in messing with it, but again, change the utility lands to how you want. So moving on to the sideboard, we have Might of the Masses. It's a 1 mana, because we are on the go wide strategy, this can essentially win us the game by getting one creature through and pumping it for a rather large amount. Essence Capture essentially allows us to deal with creature decks, also gets a 1/1 counter on any of our creatures, which can actually be beneficial in the long run, especially on the hexproof ones. Negate, again, for dealing with pesky planeswalkers and board wipes and various other horrible things. Plummet deals with anything that flies. Return to Nature again. Path of Discovery is one of the major cards in here. The reason why we want it in here, because we have lots of tokens entering the board. So why not? Why don't you want them coming in with extra 1/1 counters and causing them to get bigger? Also, some slight card draw with getting lands back into hand and various things of that nature. The last card we run is, of course, 2-off of River's Rebuke. Again, one-sided board wipe, push all your opponent's stuff away, get through for as much damage as can, if not lethal. And so, yes, again, the deck list will be in the description box down below. But yeah, I've played both decks. The token deck is a bit more fun. You can go really wide with some hands. It is unbelievable. But if you are a bit more of an aggro player and you like to sort of get in for very large chunks of damage, the +1 counter deck is probably more your speed. Play it, see what you think. Leave a comment down below. Remember to smash the like button and subscribe to the channel. As I say, I've had a lot of requests to try this out on all the different things. If you want to see gameplay, let me know. I have recorded a little bit and I am willing to show it off. I don't mind. But I do realise that some of my deck techs prefer without gameplay, and I figured for this series I will just do the deck techs themselves, but I may do a little extra bit, or as extra episode with some of the gameplay for some of the matches. As I said, make sure you are subscribed to the channel. We've got some amazing content coming out very shortly. And yeah, peace out, guys.